So he says Joel Klatt, for your information, has the Buckeyes 42-10. What does he know that neither of you two
Yeah.
don't possibly know? Guess we will find out. Thinking emoji. I get it. Joel Klatt's college football analyst, but I'll be honest. What the fuck do any of us know?
Well, yeah. And who types like this with he and possibly no question mark? Guess we will find out. Okay, fine. And I was nice to him here, Christian, as you can see in the comment section. But then he commented back on top on some other guy's thing about this kid, this Ohio State man complaining, Christian. They think that a good win is over Michigan State. Michigan State's fucking terrible. They're in a rebuild.
Yeah. I mean, Oregon's look like they're dog shit, and we'll talk about them in a bit, but it's like, I mean, didn't they lose by almost like the same margin to
Ohio State? It was 38-7.
38-7. So, I mean, almost the same margin there. Oregon hasn't played world beaters. I mean, I'm sure they'll play up or down to whoever play them, but still, this is supposed to be the most talented team in the country coming into trying to claim a moral victory over a 31-point victory over Michigan State.
Yeah, that's what pissed me off about this kid in the comments, though. Is like he's like, everyone said that Michigan State would be a test, but now they're a nobody because I said, Ohio State hasn't played anybody. I mean, if Ohio State fans want a pat on the ass for fucking beating Michigan State, like, you're not going to get it from me. I mean, I think that's just absolutely insane, Like, anyway, man, some of these people, dude, in these comment sections, dude, I don't, like I said, I don't know if they are trolling or if you're just that blatantly stupid. I mean, Christian, like, you should know as a Georgia fan today against Auburn, let's say you guys beat them by 21 today, okay? I mean, is that some highlight win of the year for you? Are you going to go online and type in comment sections that you beat Auburn by 21? No, you're not. You're Georgia.
No, I mean, and that's just it. I mean, it's why would you do that? This is supposed to be national championship or bust. Yes. And you're out here talking about, well, I think we're going to beat them by 42-10. That's what a lot of the first of all, this wasn't even a betting video. This is just us kind of giving our score predictions. And second of all, who cares? It's Iowa. I'll tell you right now, Iowa, this same exact team, with the exception of Cade McNamara, played last year. And in that bowl game, and guess what? Tennessee, with backups, blew the doors off of them.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you don't beat them at least by the same margin Tennessee beat them by, what does that mean about you? Oh, well, we're just rusty. No, get the hell out of here with that. You're only as good as who you play. They haven't played anybody.
No, I agree.
And talking about haven't played anyone, but have destroyed everyone. You know what I mean? If we played a bunch of FCS schools in Michigan State, is Georgia, is it Georgia or Alabama? I mean, what would you say about them? Still haven't played anybody.
Yeah, I that's what I mean. I don't know why people can't do that. I mean, if you even the Nebraska video that we did on Rutgers, Christian, some retard drops in there, hey, Nebraska 41-10, Greg Schiano's whatever he said about Greg Schiano, and then said, Rutgers is a Division II program. I fire back at this guy, say, well, they've won more games in 5 years than we have. So what's that make Nebraska? I mean, I hate talking shit about my own team, but Rutgers has been a better program than Nebraska has last 5 years.
He said Rutgers is a Division II football team. Schiano will be coaching at East St. Louis Female Technical College next year. And then you're exactly right. As a diehard Nebraska fan, need to put the pipe down. Schiano has 23 wins in 5 seasons. The Huskers have 19. By your logic, what is Nebraska football? A NAIA program. Hope you're right on the score, though. You do realize that comes out to 4.6 wins a season, correct? You just made my point. What? It's like, well, then you do the math and you look at what Nebraska's won. It's like 3.8.
Yeah. What was he trying to say? You said Rutgers is a terrible program, essentially. Well, then what is Nebraska? Like, by that logic, you know what I mean? Like I don't understand, Christian, how stupid you have to be to shit on another team. Trust me, I'm a Nebraska fan. I want to see Nebraska be great, but let's be honest. Who's been better the last 5 years, Rutgers or Nebraska? Rutgers has. They've played in 2 or 3 postseason playoff or bowls. We haven't.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, Rutgers is, again, and it's not like Rutgers has been this world beater program, but they are a tough program. Like I said, I don't know what it is. Greg Schiano at Rutgers is, he just does good work there. I mean, it's like Brett Bielema at, and I'm going to talk about this here in a second too. It's like Brett Bielema at, Illinois.
Yeah.
Guy's a hard guy to beat on the road, at home, whatever have you. I mean, he'll hang in there with some of the top tier teams in the country, or Penn State, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, I think that one thing I said was, hey, Rutgers is a less sexy version of Illinois, and I was wrong. They actually have a better offense than Illinois does. Now, I think Illinois has maybe the better quarterback, and they have the better. They have one better wide receiver, but outside of that, I mean, Rutgers, can put up more points. Rutgers can run the football. Something that, again, if you look at Nebraska over the last few weeks, they've been a little susceptible to the run game.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. That's what blows my mind is like people think this Rutgers is alluding to Mike's point on here. At least he's a true fan, understands if we do win, we win by a point or 3 points or less than 7 today. I hope we do. We haven't won a close game in 80 years. But my point is like if you think that Nebraska is going to come out here and win 40-10 today, like do I hope that happens? Yeah, that'd be great. But have we ever seen Nebraska score 40 points? Christian, when's the last time Nebraska scored 40 points?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
the 80s.
I mean, it's been a long time. Like I just don't understand people's thought processes and like, I get it that you're a diehard Nebraska fan. I talk about this all the time, Christian. I get you want your team to go 100-0 and win every single week, but apparently somebody like this douchebag in this comment section has never watched a game in his life because Nebraska hasn't blown anybody out. They haven't played a full game, Christian, all year.
No, I mean, they haven't. I'm going to say this. We jokingly always, made fun of like, oh, you guys need a kicker. It's not just a kicker. I'll be honest. You guys do need a kicker. I don't know what it is. That guy that's kicking for you, that's filling in for Tristan Alvano is the trajectory is too low. You know what I mean? And I'm not even a kicking expert. I don't know jack shit about kicking, but I just know that when you don't have to jump 7 feet in the air to block a kick, you literally just stand up and do that, and you're blocking kicks twice or 3 times, and you're missing when you're giving these give me kicks, from 30 yards out. You got some problems. You got some problems there. So I hope for y'all's sake it doesn't come down to a field goal in the fourth quarter.
No, I have no faith and trust, and I'm not blaming all the kicker. I have a couple issues I want to talk about this. Alvano, yeah, apparently he's done or hurt or whatever the fuck the issue is. But then this guy that they do have kicking now is our long kicker, like kickoffs and stuff like that. So he's used to driving the ball. What gets me, though, when I was talking to my dad last night about this, because he brought up the same question, Christian, is how do you not have another kicker on somewhere in Nebraska laying around? Virginia Tech has 2 guys on their roster that can kick from 60. I just, it's embarrassing. And I'm with you. The snap and the hold too, by the way, because we had 2 blocked last week, was pathetic. How are we not getting this down? Are we not practicing it? Who's the special teams coach? Where's Matt Rule on this? The Illinois game, if we would have made a kick, that game was over. Last week, I know we end up beating the worst team in the Big Ten, but it was 0-0 at halftime. I mean, at some point, we got to get, I keep saying this. I sound like a broken record. Get it turned around, but I'm at the point now in the middle of the season. Nebraska hasn't played a full game. Their special team sucks. I'm at the point where you just are what you are right now. So I'm with you, Christian. If this comes down to a field goal late, what makes me think that Nebraska's, 1, going to win a close game, 2, make a field goal? I doubt it.
Yeah, I think it was you South Florida. I can't believe I'm talking about kickers at 9:40 in the morning on a Saturday. We're getting ready to watch a lot of college football, have a great day. But South Florida, I watched them when they were playing Miami. They had, was it Grammatica, like his son or something like that, or his nephew or something like that, some lineage of great kickers. I see like the Sam Cook. Was it Sam Koch? Sam Cook? Sam Cook? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I knew I was going to mess that up. So, but no, you had Martin Grammatica's son or nephew or whatever have you, kicking at USF. He was like just drilling like 50-yard field goals. They get inside of like a 30-yard field goal against Miami, and they change the kicker out, and the kid misses it. Wasn't blocked or anything. It just missed it. And it's like, what are you doing? If a kid can kick from 50 yards, you would certainly think he could kick from 30.
No, I'm with you. Like I said, like I said, I'm done with the kicking thing. I'm with Mike. Give a kid a shot. Find some. I don't care if you find some woman that's playing soccer somewhere. There's got to be available people to kick. I kicked in high school because we had nobody else to do it. I made a 37-yarder in high school. It's not that fucking hard. It's really not. If you're a guy that can kick a ball halfway decent, you got to be able to find somebody to kick the ball. I mean, it's like I said, that's your only job, man. We're at the Power 4 level here in college football. You know, Christian, you watch the NFL, right? I mean, anything inside a 60-yarder in the NFL is a gimme. Those guys are unbelievable. Yep. They are unbelievable. There's plenty of kids in the country that can kick a football, a soccer ball. It's all the same, essentially, at the end of the day. I don't know what we're doing there, but I'm with you. I'm tired of talking about it. It's painful to watch because, you know, we get in a close game like Illinois and we shank one. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's gosh, I can't kick worth a shit, so I feel kind of out of my league here trying to give kicking advice, but that's okay. That's all right.
No, it's all right, bro.
Texas A&M to make a game time quarterback call. Let me make it for you. Start the Marcel Reed kid. Or actually, you know what? Because I bet on Mizzou, start Weigman. Please, for the love of God, start
I got to interrupt you because I'm with you on this because we both took Missouri today in the money line. This kills me because they were saying that the reason why Missouri is a dog in this game is because of this game time decision. You know what I'm saying? They're waiting to see if Connor Weigman plays. People think A&M is going to fucking blow him out today, apparently. And I don't understand it whatsoever. The Marcel Reed kid has been, I think, undefeated since he came in, right? They've beaten Florida.
Yep.
They've beaten a couple other teams. They beat Arkansas last week. I don't understand this line movement. I noticed major experts are all over A&M today, Christian. We're out on an island today with Missouri.
We are. I'll tell you right now. You know, I want to pull this up real quick, and we'll show this. This is probably the best victory I've ever seen. I don't know. Is Bowling Green some elite team? 26-20. I mean, they're a 1-2 football team, but Bowling Green, if you look back at it, barely lost to Penn State.
Yeah, but I was going to say, Christian, they barely lost to Penn State.
Well, they are 1-2, but for moral victories, they're undefeated.
Do we celebrate moral victories on this show?
Well, I guess if you're Miami of Ohio, looking for another kicker. Damn it. That's all I'm going to be thinking about today. I hope nobody misses any kicks.
Yeah.
Look at I am too. Let's go on a rampage here. 4-star wide receiver Gidron commits to South Carolina. Good for South Carolina. Good win for Shane Beamer and the Cox. What do you think about this? NCAA penalized Antonio Peters for his Arizona State violations. I think he was illegally contacting kids or something like that during COVID. So I mean, they gave him they gave him an 8-year show cause penalty for this, which is worse than Jim Harbaugh.
Was this over? I bet this was this over the Daniels thing too? Because he was there. Remember Jane Daniels? Yeah. He was at Arizona State at that time. I wonder if that. I'm with you though. Arizona State, did they self-impose their own bowl ban but hadn't played in a bowl in like 8 years?
Yeah. then they actually, I think, had a good season last year compared like they were only supposed to win like 2 games, and I'm like, oh great, they self-imposed a bowl ban and they actually could have made a bowl. It's like shit.
Yeah.
Oh man. This is a big blow, and this is good. You never want to see somebody step away for health issues, but this is good if you're playing Wisconsin, though. Their star running back, Chaz Malusi, he's going to step away to focus on his health. So we hope he recovers and everything like that. But man, it's got to be tough to be a Wisconsin fan right now.
Yeah, Christian, I want to ask you a question. I heard through the grapevine that this was over NIL money.
Ooh.
Now, I don't know if we can prove that or say that's true. I'm with you on the mental health thing. If that's the case, then fine. I don't know if we'll really know the truth, but I had heard through several sources say this was over NIL. Because if you haven't noticed, he hasn't had a great year. He was supposed to be the next, fill-in for Braden Allen and the long lineage of great running backs at Wisconsin. He hasn't had a very good season. I hope that, I mean, if this is the case, that's great. I understand it, but I had heard several things, but with this whole NIL thing that's going on at UNLV, what's your boy over at USC, Big Bear? I had heard it was over something like this. So I don't know if this is a cover up or maybe this is actually true. I'm not, Wisconsin people could probably tell me more, but interesting.
Yeah. I mean, that is certainly interesting. These are interesting times that we're getting into between the fake injuries that you see day to day. in college football where guys are going down. Hell, I could go play college football right now and go down. You don't even have to pay me that much. I'll give you a hometown discount, Georgia. You can let me just pay me $50,000. I'll go travel to Athens or wherever we're going every weekend, and I'll go down to save the team. But that's a different thing. This whole NIL thing that we're talking about is a completely new landscape as far as kids sitting out in the middle of the year. I think that I don't know. I understand it from a business side of it. This Malusi kid's been there for a few years. Whatever the NIL thing is has got to be a lot different, I feel like. I don't know. Do you think the NCAA needs to step in and maybe have like a doctor or something like that that's sanctioned, that's a non-third party, that if they determine nothing's actually wrong with him, that they have to sit out a year or something if they want to go transfer, if they do something like this? I don't know. Because I feel like we're just kind of getting into, what are we doing? I mean, they don't even do this in the NFL. Well, they kind of do it in the NFL, but it's a little different.
I don't know what to add to this because if it's mental health, and that could be his own personal issues, what he's battling. I understand. I had just thrown this out here because I had heard that. Now, like I said, I don't know if we'll know how much of that is true, but yeah, it's unfortunate because I like Chaz. He's a good back. Wisconsin hasn't had the year. I wish we had is it Dan? He usually knows everything going on per Wisconsin. He doesn't look like he's in the chat today, but he'd probably be able to tell us more. But yeah, just crazy. I don't know, Christian. This whole NIL thing and what that quarterback from UNLV, the door that he opened up now with this in contracts, and we talked about a little bit about last week. This is a whole new ball game now. I think you're right. We're going to see more stuff like this, and I'm not saying this particular case has to do with that, but it might.
I'll tell you what, that might be something that as time goes on, where you actually start to have contracts and stuff like that that's brokered through these NILs, and it's more of a direct negotiation from the schools. You could probably put like, hey, if we do a medical eval on you, whether it be psychological or physical, and we deem that you're not actually hurt and you're trying to sit out, you have to forfeit the money. You know what I mean? That might be something that a school could do. I mean, again, I get it. These are young men and everything like that. But it's a job now. And so, when you have a job, you have to make big boy decisions. And this is one of those things where, again, these colleges, multi-million-dollar colleges, year in and year out. The NCAA is $1 billion industry for all the sports and stuff. You're going to have to make concessions there, and it has to be fair across the board. It has to be fair to the college, has to be fair to the kid.
Absolutely.
And you have to find some middle ground there.
Absolutely.
Auburn. That's a big haul. They flip 4-star quarterback from Notre Dame. I believe I think his last name is Juice. Deuce Knight. I don't know why I was saying Juice. I was close. Deuce Knight, number 2 dual threat passer. Do you feel like Auburn's going to mess this up somehow, Chris?
I don't know. Not Cristobal, but who's their coach? I shit on him all the time.
Rhymes with chill.
Oh,
Chill, the Freeze.
Hugh Freeze, Jesus. I was going to say Gus Malzahn. But long story short, I think he needs a quarterback that can run his system. It's clearly not Peyton Thorne. We've talked about him at length. It's not the Hank Brown or whatever generic name he's got. That's not going to get it done. I think this is huge for Auburn. I still think Auburn eventually is going to get a team together down there. It's just going to need a couple years. This would be huge for them, though. Hugh Freeze likes a dual threat quarterback, Christian. The problem with Peyton Thorne is all he can kind of do is run. He definitely enjoys throwing the ball to the other team.
Oh, believe you me, he's helped us out a lot. He's helped us out a lot. And now that I say that, he's going to come out and ball out against the Bulldogs today. So no big deal. This will be the one game he shows up for. The Auburn-Georgia rivalry always seems to be fun, and so it'll be interesting to see. I think, like you said, it depends on what Auburn's going to do. Obviously, next year, I don't believe Peyton Thorne has any more eligibility left. And so I kind of have a feeling that it depends on when they try to play this kid, right? If they try to play him right away, and, I'm assuming that Hugh Freeze will get another year, right? We're assuming that he gets another year here. But if they try to rush this kid on the field and they're trying to pin their hopes on it, look at Billy Napier at Florida. We've seen kind of how all that plays out. We're not trying to kick Florida here. We'll get to that actually in a minute because we might actually end up kicking Florida. But, it's a lot going into your third year, at a big time SEC job like Auburn. And if you're going to have to try to play this kid and walk him out there, because, think about it. What have you done to Hank Brown now and his confidence?
Yeah. I agree. I don't know. I don't know what happens there. Like I said, Auburn's a weird team this year, man. They've looked decent at times. They played close with some people. They've also pissed a couple games away. A team that lost to Cal early in the year, had a lead in that game and then blew it. And then, obviously the Oklahoma game last week, me and you both took Oklahoma. We needed I called it pick 6 right on the money, for Peyton Thorne, but that sealed the deal there. Auburn's had a couple bad breaks, but they do need a quarterback in there. I'm with you. Hank Brown was a high recruit too. So I don't know what that does or what's really going at Auburn. So
tough days here for the Auburn man. All right, well, we'll look back at some of the games. Texas State blew the doors off of Troy. Sam Houston, good day, by the way, for some of these Texas schools this Thursday. Chris, did you know that we're getting ready to get into 55 days? No, it's less than that. 55 days straight of football of some variety. Yep. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, I'm ecstatic, dude. The betting degenerate that I am is all over this like a fat kid on a cupcake. And I can't wait. No, it's great. I need football. I hate Tuesday, Wednesdays because, there was no football, no NFL, no college. I'm happy to see that we're getting 54 now straight days of football or whatever it is. So super pumped about that.
Talk about this game here. Michigan State took on Oregon last night. Michigan State came out, drove the ball right down to Oregon's 2-yard line, fumbled the ball away, and that was all she wrote. I don't think they did anything after that.
No, I watched a majority of this game. Let's talk about Oregon for a second, who has not, to me, looked very good we talk about teams not playing a complete game all season. Oregon, a team that has, Christian, you would agree, probably has the most talented roster in the country outside of maybe Ohio State, Alabama. They're loaded. A 5-year starting quarterback in Dylan Gabriel, been around forever, started everywhere he's been since a freshman. Just didn't look good. He threw 2 interceptions on the 2-yard line going in to score last night in the first half. Just stupid interceptions. And then what really surprised me, Oregon was up 21-0 at halftime. I thought this game was like, okay, Michigan State's just not going to be able to score. Reason why I bet on this game, I needed 23 points. The final ended up being 31-10. They scored 1 touchdown. Oregon did in the second half, allowed Michigan State to score 10. And that was the final. And they just didn't. I don't know. Oregon's going to end up beating themselves. You talked about it, Christian, earlier, that Oregon looks like one of these teams that, let's say they knock off Ohio State next week, but then they'll turn around and lose to somebody called USC or Washington or somebody like that. You know what I mean? And they just have not been consistent. And I'm starting to wonder, is this what Oregon is this year? Which is disappointing for me because I'm very high on Oregon.
Well, it's kind of what happens when you lean heavy in that, especially at the quarterback position. You lean heavy in the transfer portal. You know what I mean? The transfer portal giveth and it taketh away. Just ask Peyton Thorne that question.
Yeah, by the way, Michigan State, they just don't have anything outside of Childs. That poor kid's running for his life back there. Michigan State in a rebuild.
Yeah, Michigan State's going to be good in a few years. They just got to slow it down a little bit. I think I believe, who's it? Jonathan Smith, is that the coach there?
Yep.
The one from Oregon State. They're going to be good. They just got to get some time. They got to work some things out. They're going to be all right. So I believe in Michigan State long term. Syracuse taking on UNLV. What is Syracuse? What is the ACC?
ACC outside of Miami is a crapshoot. I will say this about Syracuse last night. They were 7-point underdogs in this game, got up to an early, as Christian knows, 14-point lead, and then Syracuse does what Syracuse always does, plays no defense. UNLV scores, 24 or 21 straight. And this game ended up going to overtime last night. Syracuse finally pulling off a win. I'm with you, though, on Syracuse. There's a team that can score a shit ton of points. It can't stop anybody, Christian.
Yeah, let me tell you what my take on this is. If Syracuse is favored, bet the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, bet Syracuse.
Yep.
Jacksonville State taking on Kennesaw State. I'm only bringing this game up, and not a lot of people really give a shit about this game, but I'm only bringing this game up. Kennesaw State is one of the worst teams in the major college football. Not major college, just college football this year, Division I level.
They're new. They're the only new team they added this season.
That is true. I'm thinking about, this is my hometown team, the closest team to where I grew up, I would say. And yeah, I think I'm going to go walk on. Let's go. Let's get it. Baker Mayfield 2.0 mixed with Jared Lorenzen.
Yes. Yes.
Houston taking on TCU. Boy, TCU has fallen a long ways off from a few years ago.
I got some shit to say about this game. Houston hadn't scored a touchdown in 8 straight weeks, was up 21-0 yesterday on TCU. TCU, we know, doesn't have much of a defense. That quarterback, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, throwing for 350 yards a game. I think he almost leads the country in passing yards outside of Cam Ward. They look so bad. Houston does have a decent defense last night, but good for Houston. A 1-4 team finally gets a win on the road. TCU doing what Sonny Dykes at TCU has done the last 2 years, just refuses to play any sort of defense whatsoever over there. Yeah, I'm more impressed with Houston in this game, but I couldn't believe a team that can't score dropped a 30 piece on you.
Yikes. So, Sonny Dykes, if he's not careful, he's going to end up in the Dave Aranda school for jumping ship early.
Yep.
All right, we'll get into some of the games here. We got UCLA taking on Penn State. What's your thoughts so far on Penn State this year, Chris? I mean, kind of up and down, right?
Yeah, they blew the doors off West Virginia. That was supposed to be a game. I think West Virginia is probably not as good as what we thought. Played Bowling Green in a late fourth quarter win there. Wasn't impressive. Turned around last week. I don't know if you watched the Illinois game, Christian. I thought Penn State played a very good game that game. Illinois is not a bad football team, as we talked about earlier. Did what they needed to do to squeak out a 17-point victory in that game. That defense is good. We're going to find out what Penn State truly is when they play Ohio State here in a couple weeks. But does UCLA have a chance in this game? They're 28-point underdogs, Christian.
I think if you're playing Penn State, everybody has a chance. I think everybody has a chance. Do I think they win? No. I think what should happen is, to me, this game's going to tell me exactly what Penn State is this year. If they come out and it's a close game and they mess around and it's like that Bowling Green game, I have zero confidence in UCLA, by the way. I get it. They played LSU tight for like a half, and then LSU kind of pulled away. But, I mean, what is LSU? We don't really know what they are at this point either. Penn State, to me, they're going to have to come out in this game, and they need to manhandle UCLA. Like, it needs to be like a 40 to like 10-17 type kind of game, for me to really have that confidence in Penn State to get over that hump and beat the teams they need to beat to do what they want to do.
Yeah, I won't add any more.
Mizzou taking on Texas A&M. We kind of talked about this game a little bit. Chris, I think that, again, obviously, Texas A&M is favored in this one. I get it. It's at home for them. It's at Kyle Field, one of the toughest places to play. Just go ask Notre Dame. But I don't see it. I don't see it. A&M's defense, I don't think they've been good, but they haven't been as good as what you would think they should be.
Yeah, I want to ask the chat this. Do any of you guys think Missouri's a top 15 team? Christian, do you think Missouri's a top 15 team this year so far from what you've seen and who they played? I mean, just off the top of the head.
The way they've played, no.
Okay.
Do I think that, again, just watching them play, I think that, I don't know. I think it's Drinkashits is their coach there, and I think he's obviously it's Eli Drinkowitz, but no, I think they just, I don't know if they've just tried to hide what they're trying to do. You know what I mean? If they tried to not flow the ball through Luther Burden, is it, what exactly is it with Missouri? I mean, because offensively, it looks like they've taken some steps back. Looks like they kind of missed that Schrader kid to be able to run the football for them a little bit. And yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, they haven't looked like a top 15 team, but they also still are undefeated. And I think they still have the dogs to be able to kind of to beat somebody they shouldn't this year, like in Alabama.
Yeah, my thoughts on Missouri. Have they looked like one? No. They're going to go 10-2 this year regardless because their schedule is super easy. Even if they lose this game, they don't play any of the big dogs in the SEC. But today's a big game for them, obviously. Now, they have actually ran the ball, believe it or not, actually relatively well with Nate Knoll. Everybody's double and tripling Luther Burden a third for good reason. But their defense is actually better than what it was last year. It shocks me. You started it off, alluded to it, that A&M is favored in this game. I must be missing something because every betting person is all over A&M today, and I'm just not sure why. Do I think Missouri is a top 10 team? Dan mentioned in the comments. No, I don't either. I don't think they are. But I do think they're better than A&M. Like you said, Christian, A&M just hasn't really overwhelmed me with anything they've done so far this season. The defense is decent, yes. Quarterback play has been kind of suspect with both those guys. They don't threaten you passing the ball whatsoever. And Missouri, like I said, actually is top 30th in defense this season. They do have a pretty good defense. So I'm all over Missouri today. I don't know about you guys. I took the money line, to be honest with you. So that's where I'm at on this game today. I'm surprised this is that close.
2. Louisville taking on SMU. I don't know. I like Louisville in this one. I think they're in a get right spot right here. It's at home. SMU coming off a dismantling of Florida State. I like Louisville in it. I don't know. Your thoughts?
With you 100%. Louisville is currently favored by 7. I'm on Louisville today. Took them in a money line parlay with somebody. I like Louisville to bounce back here. That tough loss to Notre Dame, which I still think they should have won that football game if it wasn't for that first quarter. But I'm with you. I'm with you on Louisville today.
We kind of touched on this one a little bit. Iowa taking on Ohio State. I don't think Iowa has the dogs for this. I think Iowa has the defense to kind of give Ohio State a little bit of some problems, but they just offensively, I don't think they're going to be able to do much.
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of betting, high-end bettors are on Iowa in the points today. 20, I think is what it is, or 19.5. I am not one of those people. I'm actually on the under today, but I'm with you. It comes down, right, Christian? Very simple with Iowa. If they can find some success to run the ball against this apparently really good Ohio State defense, I think that they can keep this game close for a while. But if it's 3 and outs, this thing is over. You can't keep Ohio State's offense on the field all day, no matter how good that Iowa defense is.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I'm Iowa, I'm going to take my shot. First play of the game, flea flicker. Let's just try to catch them napping, and let's see what we can do. Auburn taking on Georgia. Get right spot here for Georgia. Again, this has been even when Auburn doesn't have expectations, they still play Georgia really, really tight. The 2 games you can almost guarantee that Auburn's going to get up for is Georgia and Alabama. I don't know why. It just is. It's Auburn. They'll lose to New Mexico State, but they'll lose to Georgia by a field goal or something like that. Like it's just Auburn just plays them tough. The game's at Sanford Stadium. I think Georgia's going to come out here and dismantle them, though.
So I'm on the same bandwagon you are today for the exact reasons you alluded to betting wise. I'm waiting for this line to close. It opened up at 25. It's down to 20 now, 21, something like that. I'm with you about the Auburn history. I think this is like the 100th and sometime you guys have played each other. This is like one of the oldest rivalries in college football. But I'm with you. A lot of people are against us here on this too. They think that this game will be close. I think Georgia is in a get right spot. They can't afford to look like shit like they did for a whole half last week against Bama. I think Georgia rolls today as well by at least 3 touchdowns. That's just where I'm at. Nothing against Auburn, but I'm with you there, Christian.
So Ole Miss taking on South Carolina. They're in a get right spot. South Carolina is what is South Carolina, right? That's a lot of South Carolina fans are saying, well, we had LSU on the ropes. We lost that game, obviously. Then we dismantled Kentucky, who beat Ole Miss, who kept it close against Georgia. I think Ole Miss comes out here and blows the doors off of them. I think South Carolina keeps it close for a little bit, but outside of that, this is where South Carolina's Cinderella-like season kind of goes away, I think.
Yeah, I haven't bet this game. Ole Miss is favored by 9.5. I'd like to think Ole Miss is in a get right spot, but I tell you what, man, Ole Miss hasn't played anybody all year until they played Kentucky. Blew the doors off of everybody, putting up 70 points. Jackson Dart looks like a Heisman Trophy winner at that point. They looked terrible against Kentucky offensively last week. South Carolina is a tough team. They're physical. I'm with you. I don't know what would happen if Ole Miss would lose this game, because this is a team that everybody had penciled in for a guaranteed playoff spot this season. So this game I might stay away from, but I'm with you. Very, very interesting game. There's a couple really good games today in the SEC.
Oh yeah. If they lose this game, hey, Florida can go get the lane train, and they'll be,
Jesus.
they'll be. I'll just put it that way. Yeah, really good hire if you lose to South Carolina and Kentucky. Indiana taking on Northwestern at a professional women's soccer stadium that they've elected right there on the banks of the Chicago. Is it Chicago River? I don't know exactly what it is, but right there in the heart of Chicago. Indiana should dismantle Northwestern, I think, in this one.
Yeah, me and you have been about the only two people on the internet before the season started that believed in Indiana. They were supposed to win 3 or 4 games this season. They are what now, 5-0, Christian? I think they're rated, yes, 23rd. They're 14-point favorites right now. Northwestern does have a solid defense, not much to brag about offensively. I like Indiana by a couple touchdowns in this one as well. I will be betting this game, kind of seeing where that line closes. But me and you have definitely, I will say this, we're been all over Indiana this year. Who the Huskers got to go play here in a week or so.
Indiana is, got to avoid the trap game here. Got to avoid the trap game, yep. So we'll see what they do. So we'll talk a little Nebraska Cornhuskers here taking on Rutgers. Chris, I mean, I got a feeling this is going to be a close game. A lot of Nebraska fans, I know not you, but a lot of Nebraska fans seem to think this is going to be Nebraska is going to blow them out. This is a get right spot after the down, thing there. Nebraska really hasn't blown anybody out this year.
No, negative. You make a good point there. I guess I'm in the boat of Nebraska's. This game, I don't know how this game isn't close. I guess I don't know what angle. Maybe you can tell me, Christian, where you would think or find an angle why you think Nebraska is going to blow somebody out today, especially a 4-0 Rutgers team who has beaten a decent Virginia Tech team. Depends on what you think about VT this year, and also beat a solid Washington team. Washington's, I know that's not the Washington of last year. I think we know that, but they did beat them last week. I think this game is close, and I'm going to be honest with you. I already took the 7 points in Rutgers as soon as this line opened up. If it's close, I mean, if you're a Nebraska fan, thank God Rutgers isn't ranked, I guess, because Nebraska's lost 27. I said it, 27 straight games to ranked opponents. We haven't won a ranked game since 2018. That's unbelievable, by the way, and pitiful. But if this game's close, what makes you think Nebraska can win the game? I mean, we haven't seen that since Rule, since Scott Frost, even Mike Riley, really. Like I said, I'm a diehard Nebraska fan, but I'm probably the hardest fan on the internet too with them. I think this game's going to be a close game. And if you guys don't know anything about Kyle Monangai, the running back, he's 5th in the nation in rushing. This guy's a beast. This guy reminds me a lot of Isaiah Pacheco, if you know who he is. He runs tough. He runs hard. Nebraska has struggled, Christian, this year as well, stopping the run, as you know. And Nebraska is 108th in rushing yards per game this season. It is just something I can't understand what's going on. Maybe the people in the chat can let me know why Nebraska struggles to run the football this season.
I don't know. I almost wonder, is it just they're trying to lean too much on Raiola? You know what I mean? They're trying to kind of break him in, let him throw the ball to you. I mean, I don't even think it's that, because, I mean, they try to run the football. It just isn't seeming like they're getting that push that they normally need to get up front. No. Or maybe it's the backs not hitting the holes the right way.
Well, that's the thing, Christian. You bring up a good point. I mean, you should, if you want Raiola to succeed, be able to run the football, right? That opens up some of the passing game. But when you come one-dimensional like Nebraska pretty much has on offense, it's starting to show. I think that's part of the reason why we only show up for a half. Teams figure it out. Well, you shut down the run, and not that Raiola's been great. I have nothing bad to say about the kid or the receiving core. But if you want to be a good football team, you got to be balanced, right? We talk about Oregon. We talk about Ohio State. We talk about Georgia, Alabama. You got to be able to do both. And Nebraska's 108th. And mind you guys, Nebraska was 2nd in the Big Ten in rushing last year. Now, I know that's all we could do last year, but they were top 10 in the country in rushing offense. How does it take such a step back, Christian?
Well, I think what it is, and Dan actually said it, I mean, you guys have gotten out to these big leads, and, in the first half, you've taken your foot off the gas. You've tried to just run the ball, and teams are stacking the box. And so that's where you have to take your shots. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's kind of like the Falcons in that Super Bowl, against the Patriots, where you just get too conservative and you give, in a way, you have to be able to kind of continue to, I get it, because if you try to still play, not conservatively, you, like, who was it? Was it not UTEP? It was New Mexico, I think, or whatever, in the opening game where they played, was it Montana State or somebody like that? Yeah. And they just, they weren't conservative enough. It was almost like they were trying to throw the ball, and then they had some incompletions. It kept giving Montana State the ball back, and it just kind of pissed it away somehow. But I mean, they got to throw some play action or something in there, kind of switch it up. And I don't know if they're just trying to, hey, you got the lead, you're trying to kind of be conservative and trying to go throughout your schedule, not show too much in these situations. But like you said, Chris, if you're a Nebraska fan at this point, you got to win them all. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. You got to win them all. And again, outside of Illinois, I mean, they've done that.
Right. No, I guess my point is so I agree. We play not to lose then, but then who's that fall on? That falls on the head coach. I mean, Nebraska to me is not in a position to, with the amount of penalties they have in the game, which is absolutely ridiculous, by the way. You're shooting yourself in your foot. We're not good enough to overcome that shit. Missed field goals, right? 30-some-yard field goals. Not showing up defensively and be able to stop the run in the second half. I mean, then that's where it gets into the whole thing. Of, what's Matt Rule doing? I'm sorry. I hold Matt Rule to a high standard. This guy's coached a lot. He also coached in the NFL. We got to get that shit together, because if you guys don't know, Rutgers is undefeated. We play Indiana the week after. Then we got Ohio State. These are 3 teams now that haven't lost a football game yet up until this point. So we got to get our shit together here. It's a turning point today for Nebraska, in my opinion, as far as the season's going to go.
Shouldn't even talk about this game, but I want to.
Yep.
Alabama taking on Vanderbilt. Thoughts on
it? I know everybody wants to say it's a get right spot for or not a get right spot, but going to be a letdown spot for Bama, right? The emotional win, crazy football game last week against Georgia, big win for Bama, putting them number 1 in the rankings. 90% of the time, I would say, yeah, teams like this, and I do think, Christian, I think you would agree, Vandy's not a bad team. They're not they're not the worst team in the SEC by any means this season. I think the line has dropped down to 20, start opening up at 24.5. I kind of see the game, though. I see this game being close for a while, but then I do think Bama wins the game today. I don't think there's going to be an upset or anything like that. I'd like to think Alabama probably wins by 3 touchdowns. That's just where I'm at. I know that sounds super square.
Yeah, I can see it being like a 21, 28-7 kind of like halftime kind of thing where it's like, and then Bama just pulls away, like 54-14 or 17 or something like that.
Yep.
Clemson taking on something called Florida State tonight. Do you have any confidence? Florida State, who seems to be lacking all of theirs.
Fuck no. DJ is on the bench. That's a good thing. They're playing a kid named Aaron Glenn or something like that, I think, at QB for Florida State. So DJ doesn't get his revenge game against Clemson. No, it doesn't matter. Clemson's looked like a really good football team after the loss to Georgia so far. They've went out and pretty much dominated everybody since then. I would like to think that Clemson and Miami are by far the 2 best teams in the ACC this season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if this is the game where Florida State would show up at, I mean, this would be the game, I feel like. Not the way they've played, by the way. I mean, they're a team that's playing without confidence. So, I mean, the quarterback change, like we talked about, like Florida State to me hasn't been a team, like you can't blame it all on DJU. DJU isn't out there, giving up, getting gashed in the run game, having the secondary look lost on some of those pass plays that they're giving up to who they've been playing. DJU isn't the one that's throwing the ball, hitting his wide receivers in the hands and them dropping it. He's not the one that is letting, Memphis edge rushers come in and sack him. I mean, that's now, has he played bad, turned the ball over at spots, done stupid things? Yeah, he has, but it's not all on him. I mean, it's a team that, like we said, Chris, they haven't played anywhere near what their talent that they have on that team should play at.
No, I agree. This is what you get, though, when you live and die in the transfer portal. Sometimes you hit, like last year, and go undefeated during the regular season, and Mike Norvell looks like a god. I think they've swung and missed this season, and it's showing. And you always talk about confidence. This is a team with absolutely no confidence. If you watch Florida State play, giving up, 46 points to SMU last week. Their only win is against Cal, 14-9. I mean, it's been ugly on both sides of the ball. It's not all DJU's fault. I know I shit on them a lot, but you're exactly right. They got a slew of problems. In Florida State, let's be honest, they're playing for nothing now. They're not making a bowl game. I mean, they're 1 in 4 or 5, whatever they are. Florida State's down bad.
You said it exactly right. I mean, Florida State is down bad, and I think they'll play better just because of quarterback change, but I don't think it's going to be enough to beat Clemson.
No.
Tennessee taking on Arkansas. I mean, Tennessee has looked like one of the best teams in the country this year. The way they've been playing defensively, they've been playing pretty sound. Offensively, they've been lighting everybody up. Arkansas hasn't played terribly. They've showed they could put up some points, but at the same time, they lost to Oklahoma State. You know what I mean? The way, that to me was kind of that wasn't good. But outside of that, I mean, Arkansas has been okay. I mean, and then the loss last week to A&M too, that kind of stung.
I want to ask you a question here, Christian, real quick after I rattle through a few things with this game. Tennessee's probably due for a bad game. They haven't really had one. I mean, Oklahoma, they kind of struggled a little bit there at times in that game, but they pretty much blew the doors off them if you look at that game in totality. This kills me today. I haven't bet this game yet, but Tennessee's favored by 13 right now currently. I think Tennessee blows the doors off them today. I don't think Arkansas can stop anybody. But again, following betting like I do, a lot of people are taking Arkansas on the points today. Are you one of those people?
No, I took Tennessee minus 13.5.
Love it.
Twice, actually. I parlayed it with Clemson's money line, Tennessee minus 13.5. Then I actually doubled down on it and went UGA money line, Tennessee minus 13.5, and USC money line. Right. So, yeah. Michigan taking on Washington at Washington, 6:30 tonight. Chris, I saw a lot of people talking about this in the chat. I know you were kind of responding back there a little bit. Is this the first time Michigan's been on the road this year?
Yeah, they played five straight home games, or four for sure. Straight home games. So first road game today, or for Michigan today.
Yeah, and I mean, I got to think that this I don't want to say this is a trap game, but just the way Michigan's passing offense has not been good. Now, again, I know what I said about USC, and it's weird. I feel like with Washington, because their offense has taken steps back this year, which is natural. They lost so many people, but their defense hasn't looked terrible.
No. Jedd Fisch has done a good job in year one there and completely had to rebuild that roster. I think they lost 21 or 22 starters off that team last year, something like that. I have not bet this game yet, and I was talking to Dan in the chat a little bit about it. Yeah, Washington is favored in this game by a couple points, 60% chance to win. I get where people would lean Washington. I don't know what I'm going to bet yet, to be completely honest with you, Christian, because I know Michigan is so one-dimensional. They are almost dead last in the country in passing yards per game, but their defense is still super, super good for the most part, being on the field the majority of games too that they play, especially against Texas and teams like that. Michigan did beat USC. I still think USC lost that game. I don't know who to take in this game yet, and I will bet it. I just don't know what side I'm really on yet. It just seems like I'm with you. It could be a potential trap game here with Washington. Washington can run the football. If they can against Michigan in that defense, Washington will win this game. But if they can't, and Michigan can run the football, I got to go with Michigan.
Yeah. Like I said, if they can shut down that run game of Michigan, they got a shot.
Yep.
USC taking on Minnesota, kind of another one of those games where USC took care of business. They did beat Wisconsin at home last week, but Minnesota has not looked like a good football team. I mean, Iowa, they blow the doors off them, but they beat them by more than a field goal or a touchdown, which, for Iowa is a pretty big deal. I think USC probably rolls in this one.
I have strange feelings about this game today. I don't know why. I think this game is going to be relatively close. I know it's Minnesota. I get it. I don't know why. I hope you're right. I don't care much for Minnesota, but I'm with you. I don't know. This game is kind of I could see this being a trap game for Minnesota. I know they've been all over the place this year. I'm with you. I don't know what to say about this game. I don't. I like USC. I just don't. I don't know. Playing on the road at Minnesota, tough place to play. Got to travel. I've seen stranger things happen. USC looked like dog shit first half against Wisconsin last week. Was down, I think, 21-7 or 21-10 at one point, and then poor Wisconsin just got their doors blown off in the second half of that game. But I'm with you, Christian. Yeah, I don't know. I might stay away from this one.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you if you did. I wouldn't blame you if you did. I think parlay him with there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. UCF taking on Florida. UCF traveling here. They got blown out by Colorado last week. We know Florida hasn't been great this year either. I don't know. I like UCF in this one, man.
I do too, and I feel kind of stupid. Central Florida, believe it or not, was a 3-point favorite in this game. It is now a pick 'em. So a lot of money, sharp money on Florida today. If you would have asked me before the season started, I would have took Central Florida all day, every day in this game. The fact that they played the way they did against Colorado team with no defense, Christian, scares me. I'm with you on that one. I will bet this game today. Not sure which way I'm leaning yet.
I want to talk about this one. Duke taking on Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech, 7:00 game tonight, Central Time. Duke's undefeated.
Yeah.
They won't be after this one, though.
You don't have any belief in Malik Murphy bringing 21 points down to North Carolina last week and winning that game 21-0 or 20? Yeah, they were down 20 and then won 21-20 or something like that.
No, because I think Georgia Tech, I mean, to me, Georgia Tech's in that spot right now where they're like, hey, look, Georgia Tech's a dangerous team. They'll play up and down to whoever they play. They know that team's undefeated. I get it. I mean, they had kind of a bad string there against, who was it, Syracuse and then Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you today. Yeah, I think this is going to be Duke's hardest test all season. Not up until this point of the season, obviously. Yeah, I mean, I just think Tech rolls them.
No, I'm on board here. I will be probably taking Tech in the points.
Last game to talk about here, Chris. Miami taking on Cal. Miami taking on something called Cal tonight. 9:30.
I know we're on two different sides of the coin here. I think Miami comes in this game. I'll say it again. I think Miami comes in this game like they lost the game against Virginia Tech and wins by a couple touchdowns. Christian, though, where are you at? You on that Cal money line tonight, man?
Oh, no, God, no. I'm not on the Cal money line. I took Cal. Let's see what I take. Cal plus 12.5.
It's down to 10 now.
12.5.
Yeah.
Okay. I got in right then. Yeah. Cal 12.5. It's a late kick. It's at Cal. Weird shit happens, there. And I just think that, man, I like I said, I think this game, and we heard it from some of the Miami fans. Mm-hmm. By the way, Miami has a really good fan base that, they're realistic with what they say and what they think. This game's going to tell me what Miami is. Okay, it's going to tell me exactly what Miami is. If they go out and they blow the doors off of Cal, okay, they're a legit team. If they struggle with Cal, and there's every excuse in the book you can make, well, it's a 10:30 Eastern kickoff time. It's at Cal. We had to travel how many thousands of miles to get there. All that stuff doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you have to travel to go play playoff games. At the end of the day, you're going to have to play, weird kickoff times in order to be able to win a championship. And to me, this tells me what Miami is going to be. I think Cal, again, has that. I picked them to win this game. I did pick them to win this game. I just have a weird feeling that we're going to wake up tomorrow and we're going to have some weird 3 overtime game where Cal somehow wins. I know a lot of Miami fans say, well, for Cal to win, they have to blow us out. They don't have to blow you out. They just have to win by 1. They don't have to blow you out. They just have to win by 1. Run the football, you know what I mean? Play good on defense. Keep Cam Ward, from getting out of the pocket. See what happens.
No, this will be a good game tonight. I will try to watch some of it. I know it's a super late kickoff, but I will. I'll definitely be. I'm already waiting. I'm hoping this line closes under 10 so I can jump on Miami tonight. But if I had to bet it right now, I'm still on Miami. So yeah, we're gonna find out with me and you, Christian. What happens tonight? I could see this. I'm with you. I could see that happening. I just think in my heart, I think Miami's going to come out and play a good football game tonight. Cal, the one thing they do struggle on is offense, but if they can find a way to shut down Cam Ward a little bit, they're definitely going to have a chance because Cal's a solid team. They're a solid football team.
Well, Chris, we're approaching the 54-minute mark of the show. I think that's a pretty good wrapping up place here for us. A great Saturday. Next great month or so of Football Plus, month and a half of Football Plus we've got coming up here. I mean, this is prime time season right here, Chris, for college football. And you can't help but be excited if you're a football fan. So any closing remarks before we get out of here, Chris?
No, not really. Like I said, other than that, thanks, guys, for joining in the chat. Dan, appreciate it. Mike, thanks for showing up. Should be good games today. A lot of conference games kind of kicking underway and some pretty good matchups actually today. Some pretty good football, especially in the SEC. So there'll be some good games today. So, looking forward to that. And like I said, thanks, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll catch everybody next week.